everybody.
Hi,
Ooh,
everybody.
an advertisement for Christmas Eve.
You read about that? They're going to have luminarias.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Is
right.
that cute? You got instructions on how to make them, and you can bring them, make one to contribute to the.
And
Maybe
you
I'll
can
write
hear
them to somebody.
Kathy Devine telling everybody how we can make luminarias.
Sorry.
No, that's great. You're just helping us out here. Everybody is welcome to do that, and then we'll put them all in a big box in front of the building. Just drop those off sometime before the 23rd, and I think it should tell you exactly how to do it on the website if you want to go there. Make those pretty bags. Oh, there we are. See how rough it is planning worship? It is no fun. Good morning, Jory. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Aileen.
Morning.
Hi, Don.
Hi.
Morning, Tim. Hi, Lisa and Steve.
Jim's here.
Morning, Jim.
Yeah.
Morning, Jim.
And
Morning,
good
everybody.
morning, Nancy. People are coming in. We are called to worship this morning by words from David O. Rankin.
During the Advent season, we celebrate the qualities of faith, hope, love, and joy. Yet these must be viewed through the prism of paradox.
No faith is worthy without the capacity to doubt all things, for then it is only credulity.
No hope is possible without the specter of defeat in the wings, for then it is only dreaming.
No love is strong without the dread of loss in the heart, for then it is only passion.
No joy is complete without the certainty of sorrow in the future, for then it is only frivolity.
Thus, it is wrong to mislead people with simplistic notions, for they distract us from the fullness of life. After all, the seas have storms, the clouds have lightning, and the roses have thorns forever. Come, let us worship together. We acknowledge that the land we gather on as a congregation, where we live, work, and play, was not freely given to us. We are gathered on the ancestral land of the Nuchu or Ute, Apache, the Pueblos, Hopi, Zuni, and Dene nations. This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for other native tribes. We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land. As these words are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their ancestral homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. We acknowledge that our use of and benefit from this land came at a dire cost to native nations and peoples whose land we now inhabit. I am Katie Kandarian Morris, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Durango. I'm so grateful to be creating community with you today, this congregation of beautiful, caring, and justice-striving people. In this difficult year especially, it is a balm simply being together, responding to the world's hope and brokenness with our liberal religious values. Unitarian Universalists have radical roots and a history as self-motivated spiritual people. We think for ourselves and recognize that life experience influences our beliefs more than anything. We gather in the spirit of covenant. If you are new to this fellowship or to our Zoom worship, we welcome you. Please go ahead and send a message to the chat, and our communications coordinator, Shannon Beaver, will reach out to you to greet you personally. We'd love to add you to our e-newsletter list. And another invitation, please stay after worship for our informal small group virtual coffee hour. We'd love to have you with us. Leading our service with me today is our worship team. Tim Miller is our worship associate. Sarah Sauter, who is our interim director of faith formation, will serve as our storyteller. Shannon Beaver and Cheryl Guy are greeters. John Schiffel and Dennis McClure are our tech associates. And our musician today is Lawrence Nass, and Shannon Beaver and Tim Miller will be leading our hymn. Today is Share the Plate Sunday, and this is the last month, the last opportunity where our contributions will go to the local agency Four Corners Office for Resource Efficiency. And Tom Miller chairs their board, and he will tell us about them.
Good morning. I think the climate crisis is without a doubt the most important issue facing humanity today, and if not ever. Like many of you, I've been trying to do as much as I can to reduce my personal impact on the environment, but I wanted to do more, so I became involved with our environmental justice team, about which you will hear more in the coming months. I also joined the Four Corps board a year ago and became board chair in March. All these activities dovetail nicely and give me a sense that I'm doing at least something to make a small difference. In the last couple of months, you've heard from Werner and Lori about the different ways that Four Corps helps this community deal with the effects of climate change. We help the community, especially lower income folks, to audit their energy use and provide support to retrofit their homes. Think solar installations, weatherization projects, heat exchange kind of things, water conservation, and we're pushing for greater energy efficiency. What we also offer are community tips and ideas about resource conservation, saving energy, and energy-related dollars. We're coordinating region-wide programs that support increased electric vehicle usage. And our newest program, which Lori teased us about a month ago, is the Four Corners Carbon Offset Fund, and it's now a reality online. Almost everything we do and purchase contributes in some way to adding carbon to the atmosphere. You may already be aware of your carbon footprint and are thinking about and employing different ways that you can reduce it. Some of you may also actively consider ways to offset the carbon contribution that you can't reduce. There's an increasing number of ways for you to do that. And although most of them mean that dollars you spend to buy offsets go out of town, out of state, and even quite often even out of the country, many of these projects are large and intended to make a significant difference, and many of them do. What makes Four Corners Carbon Offset Program unique is that the dollars contributed to the fund go to local projects. The money stays here and supports local families, businesses, and our environment. Your contributions to Four Corps through the Share the Plate today will go to help all of our programs be stronger and more effective. And you can find out more about the carbon offset program specifically and calculate your carbon footprint on our website, fourcornersoffset.org. And I will put that in the chat line. And we from Four Corps appreciate all your donations from the past couple of months. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. And it is the month of December, where a month of giving. I have my homemade guest at your table box right here. Shannon's going to put in the chat if you want to make one. As you can see, since I managed to make one, it's not that hard. But I just printed it out on my printer and then I folded it like it told me and glued and taped it together. And then inside I put little messages for the season, messages to myself and to the universe. I put these little trinkets in there. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I did. And I also put coins in there. All of this is really just a reminder to me to go ahead and make a contribution to the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. And I think Shannon's going to put how you can do that into the chat as well. You can do that anytime this season, but your gift right now is going to be matched by the by Veach Foundation at the congregation at Shelter Rock. So now's a good time.
Nice.
One more announcement. Are you sad that we can't be physically together on Christmas Eve? Yes, I am. We've come up with a way for you and for your creativity to stand in for you. On the church website are instructions on how to make your unique luminaria and a number of them if you'd like, and deliver them to the UUFD, the actual brick and mortar building right at the front door of the sanctuary, and then come back on Christmas Eve after the service is over, and we'll all gather and stay in our cars and drive by and wave to each other and be able to view in the dark all these beautiful luminarias that will set out to beautify our neighborhood. All right, as we worship, defined as shaping things of worth, we create community, offering opportunities for transformation. Let us be reminded of the many ways that may happen.
All right, it is time for the chalice lighting. We've been inviting some of our members to share in community chalice lighting, and this morning we have the Govreau family. And who do you have there with you, Lisa and Steve?
Jacqueline's home from college. Tristan's still asleep downstairs, so, so we got one.
So as they light the chalice, Shannon has posted words to our affirmation in the chat. You're invited to unmute if you'd like to join with us in unison in reciting these words. If that's a little too much noise for you, you can turn down your sound. We will start now. Love is the
doctrine of the church.
The
quest
quest
for
for
truth
truth
is
is
sacrament, and
service
service is
is prayer.
to
dwell
dwell
together
in
in
peace,
peace,
to seek knowledge and freedom,
to
to serve
human
human
need.
need.
For
For
these
these
high
high
purposes do we unite in worship.
I think we figured out a way to do that that doesn't sound too cacophonous. But now we will, because I invite everybody to unmute yourself and to offer a greeting of peace and welcome to your neighbors.
Hi, Ken.
everyone.
Everybody.
Charlie and Barry.
Hey everybody, I don't know what morning video.
Dennis.
Tim Miller.
Jim.
Oh, Sonny.
Hey Jim.
And I'm gonna go ahead and
Hi Kathy and Barry. Hi Katie.
oh, it just gets quiet all fast like that, doesn't it? But it's fun. And we now share our joys and sorrows in a ritual of candle lighting in community. If you are so moved, I invite you to offer your joy or sorrow of a personal matter, and I will go ahead and light a candle for you. Type your name in the chat so we can identify you. And also just a reminder, if you would, to please keep your sharing to just a phrase or two, being mindful of others and the time that we have in our service. It's also helpful right now to change your screen if you haven't yet. Go up in the corner there and you can see where it says view. If you just hover your cursor over that, change it to speaker view, and then you can see who it is that's speaking.
All right, we've got a couple from earlier. Bonnie, would you like to make another mention of your announcement?
I'll share that joy. So Tom turns 75 tomorrow, and I'm not quite sure how to think about things when we factor in increments according to the century, but I'm delighted.
We light this candle.
I also just want to have a sorrow to share. A friend and former colleague of mine is on a ventilator in the hospital with the virus. So prayers for him. Stan.
We light this candle.
Dell, I think people would like to, you shared a joy in the chat earlier, but I think people would like to hear it.
Yesterday was my 87th birthday, and just a year ago, I was set after 86 years or 85 years of totally good health. I was just hit by several things all at once and had to have surgery on my knee and had an infection there and cancer in my other leg. And so for last birthday and Christmas and New Year's and 3 months, I had to have infusions every 4 hours of an antibiotic. So I am abundantly grateful this year that I have returned to totally good health.
And we light this candle.
Yep. Liza T, you're next.
Hi. I'd like to light a candle of joy and concern for Anna Kaplan. Those of you who remember her, she was one of our child care helpers, and she had a heart transplant. And so one of my concerns is for them is financial. So if any of you know her, I have a link that I can share if you email me to help her family with expenses, but it's a miracle. She's doing okay so far.
And we light this candle.
JJ, you're up next. Please unmute. I don't see you yet.
Unmute. Okay.
You go.
Well, I have a friend staying with me this whole week. His name is Saber, and it's a joy to have a live being amongst and with me just at this time of year. This is
And
a dog.
We light this candle.
All right. Let's see. Paula D, you're next.
Yes, thank you. I have difficulty with my family. I moved to this area to be closer to them, and then the virus was here. But now a nephew is causing some difficulty, and I just need some prayers, if I could, to help that even out and not cause a rift in our family.
We light this candle.
Jory.
You guys hear me? My headset doesn't always work.
Yep.
Okay. I have a joy that yesterday I did my first Taoist stone medicine session on someone in quite a while, and I like cleaned up my whole studio and got ready for it, and she really liked it. So I'm giving away a set of free sessions and then gonna start charging. So I'm really excited to be doing that work. I've been nervous to do it, and it's something I'd love to talk to anybody about in the future. Thank you.
And we light this candle.
Joanne B.
Good morning. I just had a couple of joys. One that I see Dell every week, a couple of times, being able to Zumba with us is it's great fun. And the other is that my cousin has gotten out of the hospital after 26 days of treatment for COVID. And he didn't go on a ventilator, one of 2 people on his floor that did not. So he's recuperating, but still very weak and so forth. So, and Susan wrote me a nice note about that, and I appreciate it.
And we light this candle.
Ann and Graham.
Good morning. I have a joy that all of our kids and grandkids seem to be doing pretty well, all things considered, at this difficult time. And I have a concern for a good high school friend of mine whom I've skied with multiple times, who now is struggling with Alzheimer's disease and worsening. And I also have a concern for his family in that regard.
And we light this candle.
I see one more name in the chat. If anybody else has a joy or sorrow to share, please enter it now. Marilyn L.
Hi. So this morning, I'm sitting here with my laptop and I'm looking out my window. And at the very beginning of this service, here comes the most beautiful red fox. It's big and healthy and furry and gorgeous. And it's right out there. And then it looks up and sees me. And our eyes met and we had eye contact. And it felt like a blessing, and it felt like an omen of good things to come. And my gratitude to the goddess and to Mother Earth for letting me have that beautiful encounter. And that there's a fox in my neighborhood, this beautiful fox. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. Happy Yule.
And we light this candle.
I think that's it. Don't see anybody else.
So may we remember with a final candle, all those who have spoken today, all those they have named, and also a wish, a candle for all of those joys and sorrows that remain held quietly in our hearts, because we acknowledge that there are many of those present here today as well. Last Sunday was the first week in Advent. And so for that, we light a candle of hope. Well, sometimes twice. This week, we pledge to work for that most rare of things, peace on earth. So we light the second candle. In this holiday season, may we find peace inside ourselves. May we be peace for those around us. And may we renew our commitment to bring peace with justice to our community and the world. May we be peace. And now may we deepen into prayer. I used these words from my colleague, Sean Parker Dennison, last Wednesday night at our meditative service. Sean serves our congregation in Ashland, Oregon, to which our UUFD social justice team has recently sent disaster relief funds after the devastating fire season that took place there. Sean's words are titled, "Less Here Now." Less light today than yesterday. Less sun for growing things. Less time for demanding doing. Less gleam and shine and sheen and dazzle. I did not know how much I needed this diminishment. Here is the last green-pink tomato turning. Here is the rough undercoat thickening. Here is the urge to dig in for hibernation. Here is the slow return to the fire. I did not know the importance of this respite, this repose. Now the smell of decay and transformation. Now the fruiting and the harvest. Now the letting go, the fiery spin into the wind. Now the sigh of completion. I did not know death could be so beautiful. I did not understand the relief of letting go. This morning, we're going to use the Tibetan bowl that we used most weeks in our building. I'll ring that as it moves us into silence. May it be so. Amen. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lawrence. Well, I suggest before we see our story for today, that everybody turn on their gallery view so we can see each other, which for most of you is in the upper right, and then you scroll down to gallery view, because this is really a vocabulary lesson the kids will be studying in their anti-racism classes today. So I'd like to see a show of hands of everyone who understands the meaning of the word equality. Okay, and now how many of you understand the meaning of the word equity? All right, now both hands if you understand the real difference between the two. I'm looking. There's a few out there. All right, so we'll have an introduction to the difference between equality and equity, and it's a little bit of a wrap. And then kids, I invite you to join me by clicking on the link in the chat box, and we'll continue off to faith formation after this video.
Equity and equality are often confused, but these two words cannot be misused. Maybe you've said equity when you should have said equality. You've used them interchangeably, and that's as wrong can be. I'll illustrate, and then you'll see. There are 3 young boys, and one is tall, and one is in between, and one is small. They are all very good friends despite the obvious difference in their height. So in between and short and tall go out to see a game of ball. They all want to watch the game in the sense they are the same. So one is tall, and that's not all. He's big enough to see the ball. All the talking has to do is stand there and enjoy the view. The middle kid, or in between, can barely see. By this I mean that due to his mid-sized physique, he has to jump to catch a peek. The smallest kid, all he can see is a fence and 2 kids much taller than he. The shortest one is left to pine for the diamond and the painted line. The question then is, does it matter if the smallest boy cannot see the batter? A solution lies conveniently in the form of boxes 1, 2, 3. 3 boxes of the same dimension, perfect for the boy's ascension. With access to the boxes equally, we give 1 box to each of the 3. So the tall boy now who could see before is higher now, sees even more. The middle boy can see now too, but the shorter boy still has no view. The boxes raised him higher up, but not enough to get a look. Sharing out resources equally has not allowed all 3 to see. We gave 1 box to each young boy, still the game all 3 cannot enjoy. What if we use equity to give each child enough to see? If equally does not succeed, then give out boxes based on need. So middle child, 1 box for he, that's all he needs for him to see. Tall boy though, he does not need to have a box, that was just greed. He gives it to his smallest friend, so above the fence he can ascend. All 3 can now enjoy the game. Equity, not equality, made them the same. Now think about these 3 young men and their equitable condition. Apply it to the world you see, your life and your community. What if instead of watching ball, the problem was good health for all? What if instead of being petite, you didn't have good things to eat? What if by being small meant your neighborhood had no safe park at all? It's easier to be tall when your parents are educated. The advantages are such, make you feel elevated. Equity and equality are often confused, but can no longer be misused. I know they sound quite similar, but now you are empowered with the answer. In the world of the tall, the short lose out. Use equity to work it out.
And so I'll see you all in faith formation right there. Click on the link in the chat box.
Dona, Nobis, Pacem. Such a beautiful melody. It's attributed to Mozart, but I've read that this piece is actually not academically well written. Egad, right? We just heard it on the native flute. It was so beautiful. But what that means is that its origins are likely in folk music. It's probably written by a composer in the 16th or 17th century Germany. And this song is sung at Christmas because of its message of peace. That song is beautiful, isn't it? And when it's sung with 3 different phrases, the words for each phrase are simply repeated, not changed or embellished, simply sung as Dona, Nobis, Pacem, or grant us peace, grant us peace, grant us peace. There's another hymn that makes me think, that this song makes me think of, and okay, I get minister's indulgence here. I'm missing singing so much right now, and the old-fashioned ones are especially making me cry. The song I'm thinking of that Dona Nobis Pacem makes me think of is also in our hymnal, and we sing it as God of grace and God of glory. I'm thinking Elizabeth Crawford, our choir director, knows which one I'm talking about. There's no Latin, but it's really the same kind of prayer. It's that same kind of, as grant us peace, that same kind of prayer of supplication. In other words, the whole thing is asking for needed qualities for living. So in God of grace and God of glory, each verse ends with a list of requests. The first one is grant us wisdom, grant us courage for the facing of this hour. The second verse, grant us wisdom, grant us courage for the living of these days. The third verse, grant us wisdom, grant us courage, make thy peace our daily goal. And then finally, if you want, can you think of what song I'm doing? Grant us wisdom, grant us courage, ears to hear and eyes to see, ears to hear and eyes to see. Advent is for waiting, for getting quiet, maybe with the resultant wisdom, courage, and a bit of peace. The Hebrew word for wait, however, can also mean hope. And right about now, we need a message of hope. At our house, we've just made the shared decision that plans for the last 2 of our family members were going to be canceled. They would not be visiting us this year after all. And that just feels so horribly sad to me. For me, a small Thanksgiving was okay, was manageable, but now I'm really grieving. And then another well-loved person in Unitarian Universalism, a colleague, Hope Johnson, died just this past week. And one of our members' spouse just died. Reading the paper is getting harder. We need a message of hope right now. I like Advent. And in other years when I focused on waiting, making this spiritual season part of my regular seasonal practice, somehow what I've done in the past now seems superficial. At the time, the move to quiet and stillness was a response to the heightened consumerism. Wait to slow the season, to imbue it with a more humanist Christianity, rather than ignoring the beautiful religious stories that accompany this time of year. And then add to that the pagan influences of Yule logs in the darkness, the Jewish stories of miraculous candlelight, this daily practice of Advent that acknowledges the tension between the already and the not yet. All ways for connecting to faith, tradition, the spiritual becomes rich. And yet it's complex. Christian congregations sing or recite at this time of year, "Come, Lord Jesus." And Professor Scott Carnes names the confusion of a prayer for the Lord's coming when the Lord is already born among us. There's the paradox. As Scott Carnes writes, clearly he says our fallen world is still yearning for a savior. All things are not as they should be. Well, I may not express it exactly the same, but I get it. In a similar theological bent, I believe that none of us can be free until we all are, and that our collective salvation calls for collective sacrifice, and that we must work to bring about liberation, creating the beloved community. It's here, but not yet. But then here we are today. I mean, really, what are we waiting for? For the new president to put his hand on the Bible? For the vaccine to come to our door? For all to understand that Black lives matter? To get back into the church building? To be able to give someone a hug? To see our grandchildren? To pay off the mortgage? This Advent, we seem to already have gotten to quiet. The theme of stillness is already with us. And now we must deal with it, get comfortable with it, see how it might have changed us for the time when we come out of the darkness. This is a grave time. I've heard it expressed that it's like a daily 9/11. And this will be a really hard winter ahead. Vaccines are on the horizon, but it's still a ways out there. I've just about had it with the pandemic. For me, time seems somewhat unreal when the year 2020 just sort of flipped by. But maybe that's my other lesson. A friend of a colleague created this short film of 700 still images I want to show you to accompany the poem by Dan Albergati. Pearl Taylor had suffered a skull fracture in a bicycle accident and went into her own lockdown before the pandemic hit the rest of us. So John, will you please play this video? So maybe that's it. I need to recognize that I haven't quite reached the place for reflection yet. I'm still in it, still in the belly. And so I wait. Won't you wait with me? Making this time real, worth something, worth living. This time, worth living for. Dona, Nobis, Pacem. Grant us peace. Grant us wisdom. Grant us courage for the facing of this hour. For the facing of this hour, for the facing of this hour. I love you. Amen. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Thank you, Lawrence. That was lovely. Dennis, a little later, can you spotlight both Tom and me? As we begin our Sunday collection, remember this is Share the Plate Sunday, and 100% of today's collection will go to Four Core. The offertory thought on this Share the Plate Sunday is adapted from Laurel Amabile. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With these gifts, which we freely give and gratefully receive, we say yes to the values of our faith. Four Core is committed to reducing emissions that produce the harmful effects of a rapidly warming planet. This aligns with, in my mind, at least three of our principles. Number 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Number 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And number 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. There are 3 ways which you can donate. Shannon is posting them in the chat. We put this 800 number in the chat on TextGive every week, but how many people have a pen or pencil that they can write down that 800 number that a little later on you can actually save that as a contact and name it something like Vanco Text, I do it, or Text Giving or something, first name, last name, and then it's really easy to do. Of course, you can also mail a check to the church or on the website, hit the donate button and follow the prompts. But I just wanted to show, and I have my lovely assistant here, Tom Miller, just wanted to show how easy this really is. Tom, you have this ready? I'm just typing in, I don't know what Tom calls his thing. He's another text giver, but I just type in Vanco. I go to my messages, I type in Vanco, and Vanco Text comes up. Vanco Text. And then I just touch down in the message screen, put my amount, hit enter, and I get this beautiful message within a few seconds. Thank you for donating to the Unitarian Universe Fellowship of Durango. Did I beat you, Tom?
Yeah, you did. Mine says, wait, where did I go here? I go into my thing, I just type, I've got it set up just so I do UU, and I've got one that's called UU Text Donation. Oh, there it is. There we go. This UU Text Donation. I probably can't even see it. But all I have to do is type UU and then put in a number, and that's it. It's so easy.
So wait, what if I don't have the number in my phone?
Then you need to enter it.
And so will you give us the number, Tim?
Yes, I will be happy to give you the number. It is 833. Does everybody have a pen or pencil?
Yep.
833-765-0135.
833-765-0135. And if I enter that into my
into the addressee box in your message app. And,
okay.
And then you can go back and add it as a contact, at least on an iPhone. I'm sure there's another way on Android.
You can do it on Android too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
thanks. Rachel put it in the chat. So if you didn't get it down before you leave, you can get it down. Thanks.
There you go. All right. Thank you. Rule it out.
Please join Lawrence, Tim Miller, and Shannon Beaver as they lead us in singing the Advent Carol, People Look East. The words are actually on the slide, but the focus is a bit off, so don't worry, it's not your eyes. Let's sing.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year.
Make your house fair as you are able, trim the hearth and set the table.
People look east and sing today. Love the guest is on the way. Furrows be glad though earth is bare. One more seed is planted there.
Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish.
People look east and sing today. Love the rose is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light the bowl shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east, love the star is on the way.
And now we'll extinguish our chalice. So Gavreau family, are you, oh, there you all are. And they're going to extinguish their chalice. And if you have one at home, you are welcome to go ahead and extinguish yours as well. Thank you. And let me say this before I send you out, that if you needed some link or something or a reminder of the author of some words that we shared, that each week this recording is edited and put together so it's all nice and tight without some of our hi at the very beginning. We take that part out, but the rest of it is there, and you can click on our website at UUFD and find the recording. It'll take you to our YouTube channel, the UUFD YouTube channel, and you can watch it and you can skip ahead over the parts that you weren't looking for and find all those resources right there, or watch something again or share it with a friend. Maybe that's a good way to do some evangelism right now. I hope you like that word. If not, I guess you call it sharing. And so let us go out with these words, with also a reminder to stay afterwards and join in fellowship. The words of blessing come from Mark Mosier DeWolf. With what benediction shall I leave you? This, in your life, may you know the holy meaning, the mystery that breaks into every moment. May you live at peace with your world and at peace with yourself. And may the love of truth guide you in your everyday. Amen. Blessed be. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.